Alright, let's take on the gap. Wait a minute. Haven't we done this before?
Alright, you changed the galaxy after the last game. I almost forgot.
Galaxy 2, the sequel.
Bowser kidnapped the princess again, and is trying to take over the galaxy again, but everything seems the same yet different.
Feels very familiar, but it seems so slightly different.
Wario's taken care of, Yoshi's playable, which I guess is new, and Luigi's still unlockable, but not from collecting all the stars. It's weird.
This isn't even an axe! And I certainly don't have Mario Odyssey yet.
All jokes aside, Mario Galaxy 2 is certainly a very similar beast to Mario Galaxy 1. There's enough differences for it to be a standalone title, but enough similarities for it to just be $60 DLC, more or less. So how am I going to review it? Kind of a little of both. I'm mostly going to go over the changes that Mario Galaxy 2 has brought to the formula, while kind of touching up on the things that it basically just rips off from the original Mario Galaxy. And I'm probably just going to give it an overall opinion rather than a score, considering I think it's just a tad bit too similar to stand on its own 2 feet. It can, but it's tougher that way. Without joking around about it too awfully much, let's just go and see what Galaxy 2 has to offer that the original does not. So without further ado, let's take on the galaxy! Again! So let's start off with the plot like I normally do. Bowser kidnaps Princess Toadstool in an effort to take over the galaxy! Boy, doesn't that sound awfully familiar. There's a couple of key differences here. This time, instead of creating reactors, Bowser is literally just devouring the power stars in his own right. Wait, he's doing what? And I guess he's growing bigger from it. Alrighty then. We find out that Bowser stole and ate a bunch of power stars, including grand stars, from a spaceship controlled by Lubba, a big huge Luma that clearly why is he so big compared to the other ones? I'm not even sure why. It's not explained, but he's huge, giant. All right. But yeah, Bowser basically threw some asteroids at a spaceship and devoured all its energy supply. So when Mario crash lands on the spaceship, he talks to Lubba. Lubba's like, "Hey, you're a pretty cool guy, because you're traveling around with that particular baby Luma." I'm not sure what the significance is, but there's some type of connection somewhere, I'm sure. So Lubba proceeds to make the entire spaceship look like Mario, and then they blast off to go rescue Mario's precious one, a.k.a. Princess Peach. Again, very similar, but not quite the same as the original Mario Galaxy. The only real new character here is Lubba. At least it's the only one that you really get to talk to throughout any length. He doesn't really take a whole lot seriously, makes a lot of jokes, and doesn't really seem to like certain races of the Mushroom Kingdom galaxy. Wait, are these from space or the Mushroom Kingdom? Anyway, there are some that he just doesn't like and some that he just kind of gets a kick out of. But outside of that, you really don't get to know Lubba much. There's no background story or anything like that. He just happens to be the captain of a ship. That's basically it. Outside of that, all the characters from Galaxy return in some capacity for the most part. You don't see Rosalina much, but she's there somewhere, I'm sure. Bowser Jr. is just as snobby as ever. Bowser is just as arrogant as ever. Luigi is kind of there and no longer an unlockable character. Kind of. There's that kind of again. And then there's, wait, that in the distance. Is that, oh my gosh, it is. It's a Yoshi egg. Oh man. Oh, is it really? Yes! Yoshi's in this game. And apparently without Mario's guidance, he's about worthless mentally. But other than that, it's Yoshi! How cool is that? We are already moving on to gameplay, folks. That's about how much is different from the characterization. It's that bland. So, gameplay. This is where things get to feel different, yet exactly the same. Basic Mario plays like he would in Galaxy. There's not hardly any difference that I could ever see. I didn't see any difference at all, personally. So, I'm not going to really linger on that too awfully much. And some of the power-ups from Galaxy return in Galaxy 2. Yes, even Spring Mario, but it only happens like once, so I can kind of forgive it a little bit. However, there's some new power-ups. I'll get to Yoshi in a second. I know I brought him up earlier, but there's some new power-ups in this game. I know I didn't talk much about the power-ups the last time, but let me rectify that just a tad bit here. B Mario is a way to get from point A to point B. That's it. It's not all that much more fun than regular Mario. Boo Mario is kind of the same way, maybe a bit more entertaining, but not much. And Spring Mario is awful! The controls, for some reason, just suck on him. The whole point of Spring Mario is that he's hard to control, but you can jump higher. The problem is that you can't jump on a dime higher. You can't really press the A button whenever you need to, you know? It's like, yeah, you gotta press the A button when he hits the ground, but it feels like it just does not work. And that's it. That's all there is. Fire Mario returns, and just like Fire Mario from Galaxy, it's a nice addition to have Fire Mario in 3D. Ice Mario is nixed for some odd reason, even though I thought it was a bit more fun than some of the other power-ups in Galaxy 1. However, the new power-ups are a bit more interesting this time around. We have the drill, the digger drill, which is kind of fun with some platforming puzzle solving going on. It's nice, you know. You can take out bigger enemies with it. There's definitely some boss encounters here and there, I believe. Wait, are there? Oh yeah, there are. Anyway, sorry, it happens once. Kind of forgot about it. Anyway, if you get a rock mushroom, you can turn into Boulder Mario, which is actually quite fun. Do you guys remember Bowser, the final boss fight Bowser from Super Mario Galaxy 1, where he just had like a rock shell on him and started taking off? Yeah, it's literally that, but with Mario, and you have control over it. You can actually go bowling, destroy trees, and snow sculptures, all sorts of stuff with this. It's fun, but like the other power-ups, it is just a way to get from point A to point B kind of thing. But it's still entertaining. And then, the creme de la creme, you have Cloud Mario. Cloud Mario in a platforming game is just kinda broken, but in a good way. See, Cloud Mario, not only does he have floatier jumps than regular Mario, and kinda, you know, falls slower and all that jazz, he can also create platforms. Now, it's limited, you can only create 3 platforms at a time, but with how mobile Mario is in the Galaxy games, you can kind of get this to do some strange things. You can actually get Cloud Mario in areas that it's not fully intended for you to have it in. So, it kind of leaves a lot to explore. There's a lot more exploration capabilities with Cloud Mario than any of the other power-ups, and it's definitely the best addition in power-ups in general from the Galaxy games. Let's see Cloud Mario come back, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Maybe some Rock Mario too. Come on. But Rock Mario is awesome. New Super Mario Brothers could use these power-ups and actually be a lot better than... I'll get to those later. Anyway, then you have Yoshi, the creme de la creme of power-ups, kind of. And, you know, creme de la creme of buddies, allies, friends, until you drop them off an edge. Anyway, Yoshi, he's back. He has motion control tongue abilities, which are fun until you accidentally use it on the actual Mario Starship, and oh no, what did I do? Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, motion control tongue-based gameplay. It's kind of weird sounding, but you know, it works. Yoshi kind of functions like Mario, but with a higher jump, ability to just devour anything in sight. And he actually has some power-ups of his own. You can get a fruit that allows Yoshi to turn on fire and just start running because his mouth is burning, which leads to some pretty fun levels, I'm not gonna lie. You also have the blimp power-up, which turns Yoshi into a giant blimp. It's not as interesting as the fire fruit, but hey, it works. And then you have the light bulb fruit, which is underutilized and only... it's kind of used, but it basically reveals hidden pathways. The problem is that when the fruit runs out of juice, the pathway disappears completely and you just fall right through it. So you gotta kind of, you know, pick up the pace in certain areas. Yoshi is awesome in this game, however, and on the levels that Yoshi is available in, he's really fun. Now, unfortunately, he's not available in every level, despite you getting him on the starship. He just kind of pals around and shows up whenever you need him. However, there is a boss fight with Yoshi in it, which is pretty good. Anyway, I'm kind of stretching it out here. The additions that Mario Galaxy 2 brings to the gameplay is great. But outside of these additions, the game plays virtually the same. The only difference is the power-ups and Yoshi. That's it. That's pretty much it. Is it good? Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic. And it almost makes the gameplay a bit better to experience here than it is in Galaxy 1. While the storyline in Galaxy 1 and the characterization in Galaxy 1 are way better, the gameplay, due to some of these power-ups, has just that much, just the smallest midge ahead, which is fantastic. Now, if only the level designs can be designed around it, perhaps, maybe? Oh, this is interesting. So, I think that there's more levels in this game than there is in Galaxy 1. Don't quote me on that. I didn't actually, sit there and count. I don't have the time for that. But the levels here in Galaxy 2 are a bit more concise. There's less stars to find in each level, but the levels are so much better and so much more creative. Oh my gosh, yes. It's fantastic. I love each and every... Oh, okay, not each and every level. There are definitely a couple of stinkers here. But the level design as a whole is just better and more concise than Mario Galaxy. And that's kind of what sets Mario Galaxy 2 for some people to be better than Mario Galaxy. Some people don't care about depth in a Mario game. They just want to play really good levels. And if you're looking for good gameplay and good levels, Mario Galaxy 2 might actually be for you more than Mario Galaxy 1. Don't get me wrong, Mario Galaxy 1's levels were fantastic. They were great. But not quite as good here. The only thing that's really missing from Mario Galaxy 2 is a hub world, sort of. You have the starship, which you can just kind of wander and show off your collection of power-ups and things that you have on the starship, and guests that you kind of kidnap. But, yeah, you don't actually need the hub world in any capacity in this game, because it's just basically like a board, like Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. 3. You just kind of go from level to level. And if you don't... You have to beat a star on each level at least once to continue on past that level. There are some hidden shortcuts if you've been collecting a lot of stars or a lot of star bits. But for the most part, yeah, it's just level to level, and you really only need 1 star in each level to continue on, until you get to roadblocks that say, hey, you might need to go back and collect a couple more stars. I think you need roughly 70 stars to actually beat the game fully. So if you collect 70 stars by the time you're approaching the last world, you're doing pretty good. If not, you'll have to go back. But for the most part, it's pretty linear in design. There's not really a whole lot of choices that you have. Even if you collect 70 stars, you still have to beat some of the final levels just to get to Bowser. You can't just skip it like you could in Galaxy 1. That's it. That's like the only downfall I could see that Galaxy 2 has, is that it's really less open-ended. But the levels themselves are just so much better and so much more creative. I love most of them, I'm not gonna lie. Hey! Weren't we here before? Hey, weren't we here before too? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, some of the levels are redesigns and repeats of familiar levels from Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. And there's some aspects from Mario Galaxy, obviously, including some boss fights. But for the most part, the levels are really original and typically really, really good. Highly recommend for the level design alone. And some of the best levels are hidden unlockable secrets. First off, let me start with Hungry Lumas. You can find them on the boards and kind of talk to them, and if you feed them enough, they unlock secret levels. It's pretty easy. You don't have to find like a secret exit or anything like that. There are secret stars in each level, however, or at least most of them, but I'll get back to them in a bit. Mostly, there's only one reason to get these secret levels, and 1, shortcuts. 2, there's an entire world full of levels that you can unlock after you actually beat the game. These levels range in difficulty, but they're pretty decent nonetheless. I'm gonna go over one of them in the Memory Card Lounge. When that comes up, it'll be in the description below. The link will be. Anyway, these levels are actually really fun and really challenging. Yeah, there's some repeat offenders, including an entire level repeated straight from Galaxy 1. But for the most part, they're original, they're difficult, and they're pretty good. The Hungry Luma levels, however, are all original and all really good. So about collecting stars, though, is there something worth getting if you collect everything? Well, yes and no. To collect secret stars, there's a menagerie of ways you can complete a galaxy, more or less. 1, some galaxies have stars hidden, like a hidden pathway branched out, or a Hungry Luma that forces you to collect a certain amount of coins, which, if you find a level that has difficulty collecting coins, or there's just not a whole lot of coins, expect one of these suckers to show up. They'll kind of shoot you off to a mini-game or a small little planet, and after beating that particular mini-game or small little planet, you're rewarded with a secret star. Some stars are just hidden in the pathways. If you're clever enough to actually find them, hey, there you go. Comets are back. Yeah, I know. But comets aren't necessarily as rigid as they were in the first Galaxy. They can have all sorts of different effects, like killing all enemies or purple coins. Not every level has a purple coin comet. Keep this in mind. They're a lot more linear, and other than a freaking slide, they're pretty more manageable too, typically anyway. Then there are side quests, more or less. Instead of comets, there are some levels that you kind of just get a side quest in. Whether it's a chimp that likes to play games and wants to compete with you, to a gizmo that just wants to collect some type of enemy, or maybe somebody challenging you to a race in a previous galaxy. There's a few of these, and they're not horrible, they're not bad, and they kind of give you a bit more depth into each level. Like, you know, I don't really want to do a comment, but a challenge where I'm trying to collect points by jumping on enemies' heads? That's not bad. You get a lot of these by collecting comet coins. Now, comet coins are basically coins that you can find in each level. The more you have, the more likely you're going to find a comet. And yeah, some of the old Daredevil runs return in here and there, but for the most part, the comets are done really well. They're original, and even the ones that return, like the speedrunning comet, they're done a little better here. However, once you collect every star in the game, suddenly there are green stars to collect. There's also bronze stars too, but the only way to collect them is if you die enough at a stage and decide that you need help with the stage. And once you get help with the stage by talking to a ghostly form of Rosalina, you can get a bronze star. It does nothing for the game until you actually go beat it and get a regular star. Green stars, however, are a bit of a different beast altogether. Ugh. Green stars are hidden throughout every stage, and some of these areas are obscure. Like, oh yeah, I was just gonna go look off the edge. Thanks, Nintendo. So, with every star, there's a green star. And once you collect every green star, a new galaxy opens up. Oh yes, and this one is challenging. In fact, this is the most challenging level in Mario Galaxy. Once you beat it, you unlock a Daredevil run. Oh, then you gotta beat it without getting hit. For some reason, I have a hard time with this. The reason being I have difficulty with this particular galaxy is because basically you have to beat the entire thing as Cloud Mario after a certain while. And Cloud Mario's physics are not as... well, they're good physics, I would say, but they're different than Mario's. So you can get used to the entire level and practice it, but you're getting used to it as Mario. And then when you get to Cloud Mario, even after you waste all your platforms, unfortunately, you have to get used to his physics too. And it's tough, don't get me wrong. And what happens when you get those? Not much. Other than the new challenging level, which definitely is a challenge for sure, there's really not much there. And it kind of puts a damper on collecting all the green stars and all the regular stars. And the final level is alright, it's fun, but it can be absolutely frustrating at the same time. And is it going to be worth it to everyone? Unfortunately, no, it won't be. In fact, unless you just absolutely crave something difficult in a Mario game, it's not really worth it at all. Nope. It is worth it, however, to beat all the other levels. And the reason being is because most of these stars are really fun to get. The green stars, however, are not as fun to get, unfortunately. So, honestly, to find them, I would actually use a guide. Be easier than trying to look through the stages for some of these. They're not quite as well designed as the actual stars themselves. So there you have it. That's the secrets and side quests. That's it. You do get to collect certain trinkets and trophies for your starship, but in the end, it doesn't do you much good. It's just bragging rights and something to play with on the starship some of the time. So, yep, that's about it. So overall, is Mario Galaxy 2 better than Mario Galaxy 1? The answer is... it depends on what you like in a video game. Ha ha ha! Totally not a cop-out at all. Oh, yes it is. Anyway, it kind of is and it kind of isn't. Because if you really like level design and gameplay in a Mario game, this is your jam. When it comes to straight up gameplay, due to the power-ups being a lot funner in this game than in Mario Galaxy 2 definitely has it out, just by a smidge, but it definitely does kind of win it over. And when it comes to level design, I truly feel that the level designs in Mario Galaxy 2 are just way better, more creative, more variety. It's just better overall. But when it comes to things like story, characterization, and even the secrets and side quests, Mario Galaxy 2 kind of leaves a lot to be desired. The story is literally just an abridged version of Mario Galaxy 1, which is okay considering Mario Galaxy 1 kind of set up the ability to abridge it, but still it's just not as well developed. And the characters, you don't really get anything different with the characters anyway. There's just less charm and characterization to, say, Rosalina, who kind of shows up towards the end, and Lubba. Yeah, Lubba has a connection with Rosalina and, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's not fleshed out, and that's all there is to it. And then you have the secrets and side quests, which just doesn't really do it either. Unless you're looking for a challenge, there's really not much point in collecting all the green stars. I fully endorse collecting all of the regular power stars, but when it comes to the green stars, use a guide. If you really need to get the last 2 power stars and get the total of 242 power stars on your save file, use a guide on the green stars. Don't use a guide on the rest of it. And don't collect any bronze stars. It's just kind of insulting. Unless you are absolutely cannot beat a level and you need to know how to do it, don't bother. But yeah, the last level that you unlock with all the stars and all the green stars, it's only going to be worth it to hardcore Mario fans, to people who've been playing the game for a long time. And if you have been playing Mario for a while now, and this isn't your first foray into the plumber's world, then yeah, sure, by all means, you know, find the challenge. But if this is your first time, or even your second time right after Galaxy 1, I wouldn't even bother with the green stars, honestly. Just work on the regular ones. They're a lot more rewarding, and it's satisfying collecting them. It really is. But there you go, guys. Do I recommend Mario Galaxy 2 as a standalone game? Not really. And I don't recommend playing it directly after playing the first Galaxy by any means, because holy crud, you'll be exhausted from it. But if you played Galaxy 1 a while ago and you're thinking, you know what, I can get back into Mario, Galaxy 2 is easily a place to go from there. Can it stand on its own hind legs? Yes and no. The story is going to seem shallow, the characters are going to seem shallow, even compared to Mario standards, it's going to seem shallow. And that's if you haven't played the first Galaxy game. After playing the first Galaxy game, you're just going to notice some similarities, and that's about it. And again, if you want a challenge, the secret isn't bad. It won't take you too awful long to collect the green stars once you know where they are, but it's not great. So, you can play Galaxy 2 on its own. You really can. If you like just regular gameplay and level design, and you just want to play through the main levels and not have to worry about collecting everything, then yeah, Mario Galaxy 2 can stand on its own. The gameplay and level design is good enough to carry the game. I really do think so. And the story isn't atrocious, it's just a rehash of the first Galaxy story. That's about it. So, yeah. If you're into 3D Mario games, especially if you've played Galaxy, but not, you know, if you just played Galaxy like 2 minutes ago, then yeah, I highly recommend Mario Galaxy 2. The levels are just that good. As always, if you like the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe maybe, hit that bell, you know, things like that. If you want to see more from me, I have plenty of reviews. This is the final review for my Mario marathon here. And the next game I'm going to is Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, it is finally time. But before we leave the Mario universe, I'm going to do a top 10 about this particular marathon. Anyway, if you want to see more of my content, I'm currently working on getting my Let's Play channel back up and running, and I post weekly on it. If you guys want to see me do Let's Plays live, I have the Twitch channel. Everything from my Twitch channel goes onto my Let's Play channel, so if you can't catch my random schedule, because it is random indeed, then subscribe to the Let's Play channel, which is Domination WW. Subscribe down below. I'm also trying to work on getting a multimedia channel going, movies and all that stuff. So, if you're interested in that, that would be Domination Inc., also linked down below. Until then, we'll see you guys running security in Fazbear's Pizza. Take care. Bye-bye. So now I have my own spaceship. And I have access to the Comet Observatory if need be as well. I have many, many, many more power stars. Absolute tons of coins and star bits. Living in the life of luxury anymore. However, if you guys have been hearing this, and you guys have actually been listening to me talk about the treasures that I've been collecting and all the power-ups that I've been storing away, perhaps you've caught on that there's a bit more to this than meets the eye. Let's just say I'm not necessarily going to the Freddy Fazbear universe just because I'm a mercenary. Sure, it's security work, but the pay is kind of crap compared to everything I've gotten here in the Mario universe. So why go to it then? Well, you'll have to watch that marathon and find out. Take care.